All right, ladies and gentlemen, Mock Draft 4.0 has officially dropped. You may have seen on the channel, I've done a couple mock drafts that haven't been officially Mock 4.0, but Mock 4.0 has dropped, and this actually leaves room for one more official mock draft before the actual NFL draft. But let's get right into it. So I'm taking in round one at pick 11, Jalen Walker. Now, he is one of the more polarizing prospects in this class because what is he? Is he a linebacker? Is he a edge rusher? Is he a nickel? What is this guy? Could he be a safety? Who else had those questions coming out of the draft? Fred Warner. Now, I'm not comparing him to Fred Warner. I think he's a different player than Fred. But the point being is the versatility. The versatility used to scare me. Back in the days, one of the reasons why I was out on Derwin James coming out of Florida State, I saw him used off the edge. I saw him used in the nickel, I didn't think that an NFL team would actually take his versatility and implement it into their scheme. So I didn't think he was just going to be a phenomenal safety, like a cover safety. I thought he was a guy who needed to be all over the field. And that's exactly what the Chargers did. And that actually helped me evolve my evaluation to Fred. I like Fred a lot coming out. And so I'm not scared of these players. Some people I think see a player without a defined position and they don't know what to do with it. For me, Jalen Walker is one of the best athletes in this class. He can rush off the edge. This guy could be to me, I see like a potential like 15 sack guy in the NFL if he were to strictly rush off the edge. His player comp for me is Hassan Reddick, who was also a draft crush of mine coming out back in the day because he was a very similar prospect coming out of Temple. Is he a linebacker? Is he an edge? He's undersized. We don't know what he is, and we don't know where he fits. And I'm not saying that they're exactly the same, but they remind me they're both 6'1", and again undersized defensive weapons is what you would consider. Now, Hassan Reddick was considered a bust until he found his home on the edge, and that's really where he thrived. But when I look at Jalen Walker, he is so phenomenal in space that you have to use him as a linebacker. Like you cannot just rush him off the edge. It would be a disservice to his skill set. So this is how I would look at it. You have him to come in to be a linebacker. He will replace Dre Greenlaw, but you use him off the edge in situational pass rushing situations. And I'm going to get to how you can utilize him even better with some of these other players that I have drafted as well. You can see there's a vision here. So I'm using him off ball, but I'm also rushing him off the edge. You better believe that he will be getting some sacks as a rookie. But I think he is such a good talent. I think he's put together. I think the character is there. He is phenomenal. If you want and look at his workout with Michael Williams and you watch those two next to each other, he is in a different stratosphere as an athlete than Michael Williams, who is also being considered at pick 11 for the San Francisco 49ers. So I'm going to spend a little bit extra time on the first round pick because I just want to get my opinions out there. I've kind of been working through this, but let's get into it right here on who I'm going to go with in round two. Darius Alexander, defensive tackle out of Toledo. He's a guy where I see him being able to play every single position on the defensive line. He can play 9 through 0 tech. It doesn't matter. He can play every spot. And ideally, I see his best fit at 3 rush, being a 3 tech, but he is a good athlete for his size. He can hold up against the run and he can rush the passer, and he's a force. And so that's why I like him. The 49ers have so many holes on their defense right now that's where I'm plugging him. I'm plugging him into that room, and then you can use him as you see fit. As you'll see, it's kind of a theme of some of these players that I've drafted. Then going to round 3, I'm going with edge Femi Oladejo. As you guys know, he's been on the channel. Big fan of his game, and I think his best ball is ahead of him. He's only been playing edge for 1 season after being an off-ball linebacker. Now, this is where we get creative. Think about the different things you could do with Femi Oladejo and Jalen Walker on the field at the same time. The reason why I'm noting Femi's ability to play off-ball linebacker, he can cover. He can drop back. He's more familiar right now with playing in space and playing in coverage than he is rushing the passer. But I think that's where he's best suited. He is best suited coming off the edge, but that's the beauty of it. And so you get these two players, Jalen Walker, Femi Oladejo, guys that are kind of interchangeable, and you could do crazy things with them. Like, let's say you have Femi on the edge, and let's say you line up Jalen Walker tight over the guard, and then you bring Jalen looping around Femi. Femi drops back into coverage. Like, you could do some creative things with these guys, and that's the name of the game in today's NFL. You have to disguise, and you have to surprise, and you have to make these offenses and quarterbacks uncomfortable. And that's why I'm going with two amazingly high upside players. Round 3, please leave your PTSD at the door. We don't have time for that. Yes, this wide receiver out of Washington State's name is Kyle Williams. I'm a big fan of the talent. It's easy to see. He is a good wide receiver. He's got speed. He can high point. He can do everything you want from the wide receiver position. But I just spoke to his teammate yesterday, Esapole, who plays left tackle for their team. And he's a guy that I really want to draft. And I wasn't able to squeeze him into this one. But he said some great things about Kyle Williams and how he's made up and just like his leadership and off the field stuff. So I know the 49ers are interested in him, and I would definitely take him here. Round 4, Kobe Bryant, cornerback out of Kansas. When I watched him, I was all in immediately. He reminds me of Bernardo Green, almost same build, same frame. I would say he has better ball skills coming out of college, but similar mindset. Very aggressive, very physical, press man guys. Doesn't matter how big he is, he has heart. So Kobe Bryant is a guy that I would absolutely love to have. And you look at the room, Diamador Lenore, Bernardo Green, Kobe Bryant, all very similar makeup. And I think those three guys would wreak havoc. Again, it'd be like 3 hyenas running around in coverage. I think it would be fantastic. Then we go back to the defensive line room with CJ West. Think of DJ Jones when you think of CJ West. Same body style, same way of winning. Can do it in the run game, can do it in the pass game. I just see a ton of DJ Jones in CJ West. And then we go in round 5 to David Walker. As you guys probably know, I'm a big fan of David Walker. Had him on the channel as well. You'll see a bit of a theme here. But again, I've seen some people be like, oh, overkill on edge. Is it though? The 49ers current defensive ends are Nick Bosa, Yetur Gross-Matos, Sam Okiwanu, Drake Jackson, who might not even play this year, Robert Beal Jr., who has not developed as we had hoped for, Alex Barrett, who is a great practice squad guy, and Jonathan Garvin, who you might not even know who that is, along with Teron Jackson. Those are the 49ers defensive ends. So if you're asking me, well, why are you getting 2 defensive ends with one potential, with a third guy who could rush off the edge as well? I just explained why. The 49ers have put themselves into this position where they need to go all in on their defense, and they need to retool it and rebuild it. And it starts with this draft. And I mean, to their credit, this is a great draft to do that. So I hope they do it, and I hope they hit on guys like David Walker, who has been on a 30 visit, and he fits. He just fits, and he's a very good pass rusher. He's going to get knocked for his size. Hey, another 6'1" guy rushing off the edge, but he knows how to rush the passer. And then Jackson Slater, big fan of his game. Sac State, FCS guy, 2 FCS guys back to back. Jackson Slater really showed out at the Senior Bowl. I'll actually have Jackson Slater on the channel later today to talk about everything that he's been through in this process. But he checked a lot of boxes for me personally, watching him at the Senior Bowl. One of my favorite battles was him versus Walter Nolan, who's believed to be a first-round draft pick. and he held his own, and he won a couple of those reps. So he's a guy that I really like, and I think he has the opportunity to be a starting center in this league for a long time. In round 7, we go tight end Jalen Conyers. Now, again, granted, this is a simulator, so this I don't necessarily believe this is how it will fall, but this is just me executing the sim. So Jalen Conyers obviously has been on visits with the San Francisco 49ers. He's an athletic tight end. He is a pass catcher. He is a guy who can make plays at the tight end position. 49ers already have their blocker. So I think they should go in a bit of a, receiving threat style tight end. And this guy, I think, fits that mold. We also go Nick Nash in the 7th round. I don't think Nick Nash is a 7th round prospect. I probably goes closer to the 5th, but again, he's there. And when I look at the board, I'm like, I got to take him. He enters a crowded room at this point, but he's a guy that, I'd rather have than not have. Again, he was also on the channel. And I think he would be a phenomenal, just like sleeper pick if he's there in the 7th round. And then you have running back Taj Brooks. Dude, look at this guy's production. Back-to-back seasons with over 1,500 yards rushing. He had 17 rushing touchdowns last year. All this guy does is produce, and I like those types of guys. So I add him in the 7th round. Again, I don't know if this is where he will go in the actual draft, but in this draft, that's where he landed. And I'll give you my initial critiques. I guarantee you the first thing that people are going to critique about this mock draft is lack of offensive line. I recognize that. I do think that the 49ers should come home with 2 offensive linemen, 1 tackle, 1 center or guard. That's how I think it needs to be. The tackle that I was trying to get was Esapole, because he reminds me of Jalen Moore with upside. So that's what I was looking for. Getting a guy who can fit that swing tackle mold. Colton McKivitz is going to start next year, and so is Trent Williams. So you get the guy to replace Jalen Moore, who could potentially place Colton McKivitz next year if the 49ers opt to not extend him. So that is the only thing that I will also critique of myself of this particular mock draft. And maybe you could make the case of switching out Kyle Williams in round 3 for an offensive tackle, that I could absolutely agree with and would be open to, and that might actually show up in my final mock. I have one more mock left, like I said, and this will be a culmination of all of them, and this is what I want the mock to look like. So I get it. It's a valid critique, but again, my focus on this particular mock is defensive line, and just really plug in that hole, because it is a huge one. And it's an interesting spot that the San Francisco 49ers have put themselves in. So that is 4.0. And I want to hear from you guys what you think about this in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.